Hi, it's Richard at Richard's Guitars, and today we are progressing in our little series which is looking at the chords and scales all found within the same key. We're doing this to build our understanding of the major scale and the chords found within it, and all the usable chord, I suppose, chords and scale shapes that are found within that format, within that diatonic scale. It gives us an introduction to the basic sound of modes, and we're also looking at pentatonic scales. We're getting to understand the relationship between all of these things. Anybody who's following these little videos should, by the end of it, understand how chords, scales work together, how in the future you're going to be able to, in the not too distant future, we'll be able to look at chord progressions and how songwriting, and how to solo over chords. So it's hopefully going to be useful to anyone on any different level. But if you're a complete beginner, I am considering all of this from a total novice point of view, so do not panic. If anything I say to you doesn't make sense, please just look at the previous videos. Okay, now then, let's go. So we're going to look at the 4 chord. So people who've been watching will understand how to do this now. So I don't want to go too much over the kind of the basic how-to, because we kind of have covered that 3 times in previous videos. If you don't understand it, watch the videos, but if you have watched the video, you still don't understand it, please put a comment below and I'll try and help you work it out. Okay, so this is the shape that we've been using, the major scale shape. A sound and appearance that we should all recognize now. That's going up through two octaves. So we've done the 1, 2, 3. So today we're going to start on the 4, the 4th note. And this is referred to as, in Roman numerals, the 1-4 chord. So we're going to be building a 4 chord within the key that we started in. It will, so we're doing all of these samples in the key of C. So this is going to start from an F on the 8th fret. Okay, here goes. So what we're looking to do, first thing we'll do is we'll look at the chord that we're trying to find. That's what the essence of these videos has been. So what do? We look for the root, the 3rd and the 5th, and we're doing the 7th as well, because I think it's important to understand about the 7th chords. So let's have a look. Let's play through the scale and staying within the key of C, starting from the 4th note, sticking with that original shape though, so we don't have to ever move away from what we've learnt for several weeks now. So let's look at it. 1, that's now our new 1, that's our new tonic note, our new root. 1, 2, so there's a natural 2 there, and this, I want to make sure it's not shining this board, you can see where I'm going, so it's 2, 3. Okay, that's a really important one, and it's an important one because, as you should know by now, that the 3 determines whether the chord is major or minor. And as we can see, it's that is a major 3rd. And if you don't know that sound yet, go right back to the first one because we've covered that. Kumbaya. Root 3. So we now know it's got a major 3rd, so we know that the chord that is built off the 4th degree of the major scale is always going to be major. Okay, let's whiz through this. 3. Now here's our first and primary voice of the new scale that we're going to hear. This is really important. This is a really crucial tone. It's at the heart of the new scale that we're going to be playing today, the new scale that works over the 4 chord. The scale is called Lydian. Okay, so this is going to be the new name for the scale that works from the 4th note of the major scale to the 4th note an octave higher. So we've gone 1, 2, major 3rd, sharp 4. That is not what we normally hear. So far in all 3 of the scales we've heard a natural 4. It's really important to bear that in mind. The sharp 4 is a key signature tone. It's the only mode in all of the chords and scales you hear within the major scale that has a sharp 4. Okay, so it really stands out, and it's a signature tone of this major scale. So 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, and that's our kind of first sort of well, that's another chord tone which we've discussed before, root, 3, 5, 7. 5 is that nice sort of backup to the root, so it sounds kind of, it's used in rock and roll, blues, rock, metal, you know, country. The 5 chord, it's a rock chord, it's used all over the place. So root and 5 for your 5 chord there. So 1, 2, 3, 5. Then we go up to the next one, 6, a natural 6. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we go to the 7 and back to the root. Now then, so what we've done there is 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. If you've got a good memory, that should be throwing something at you straight away. 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. That is only one note different between the major scale. The major scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? As we've gone over and over and over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Has a major third, a major seventh, a natural sixth. There's no flat there's no flat notes. The Lydian scale is exactly the same, but it's just got this one, and this is why I'm telling you, this one note is so crucial to the sound of Lydian. So we've got 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, and we could carry on up. Now, I want to talk to you about this. So far we've discussed, we haven't heard what we call the natural minor scale yet. We haven't done it. I'll tell you now, it's built off the 6th chord in the key. But what we have looked at, we've looked at Dorian and we've looked at Phrygian. And we know that Dorian and Phrygian are both minor scales, minor chords, and they both have their own kind of flavours. Now, Lydian is the extreme opposite to the Phrygian scale. Phrygian turns what I'd call sadness into darkness, something quite dark. Okay, so Phrygian takes, this is my feeling that it gives me, Phrygian takes minor scales into a dark place. Lydian takes happiness into elation, or it takes happiness into wonder. Wonder, that's a great way of describing it. So if you imagine this feeling of wonder, that is very much what Lydian is used for, and it's used a lot in films, composition, songwriting, film scores. So if you imagined a kind of a space setting, you know, and you're looking out at the galaxy, well, it fills you with awe and wonder. That's Lydian. It's portrayed, and I was watching a video the other day that was portraying it in things like Jurassic Park. That to me is that same feeling, that awe and wonder. There was an example where it was used in Toy Story, which I've given people a link to in my Patreon site, but it was like a clamp was coming down to take all the toys, but at that moment that clamp was coming down to save them all. There was this feeling of joy and wonder and excitement that wow, and that was the Lydian moment. So it went from fear and upset in the soundtrack to awe and wonder, and wow, where did that come from? Oh my gosh, we're all going to be okay. That's Lydian. So it can be used in all sorts of contexts which are describing this kind of wondrous happiness we have. So let me show you how that is conveyed, because to do this we need to put our chords in the background, and I've just done this a minute ago, and I want to show you what I've done. I've used, now this is something that might be useful for you to learn. I'll just quickly show you this. It's very nice, it's just nice, and it's something that would be very, very useful for even for a beginner to learn. It actually uses the F major bar chord here, so I'll show you a diagram that shows you this, but it has a nice little movement. So this is quite nice from a, this is kind of help you develop your ideas a little bit with how you can pull the intervals from the diagram. And you'll see in the diagram where all these intervals are, where the root, the 3, the 7, the 5 all are. They're all chord tones that you can use. And we can then use those as a bit of a wash background while we're practicing our scale. So in this case I've used the root on the 8th fret and then a bar that bars between the D, G and the B string across the 10th fret. And that's a very, very common use of that shape. You would have seen it down here as the A major chord. So that's the A major chord, open A. But what we're doing is we're playing with a bar, so our first finger is on the F, and then the 5th, the major 3rd, and the 5th are all there. Okay, so root, 3, 5, and sorry, did I say root, 5, octave, and 3. So on the diagram it will say root, 5, octave, and 3. In that little straight line on the diagram. But all the backing does is it then moves. We slide with our 3rd finger. A little bit of a technique for you to have a look at. And why are we able to do this? We're putting our 3rd finger on the 12th fret, and we've got a little bar. We're now barring with our 1st finger, and we're creating this chord. Okay. So what that gives us is A over F. Okay, so we've got the bass note A over an F chord. Now that is basically, quite simply, still an F major chord, but we're moving the major 3rd into the bass. So it gives us a different sort of tonality, but it's still the same intervals. So have a little practice at moving between those. It's a good little exercise for you to do. And this is what it sounded like. I just slide into it. And then back, and it loops. That's all we're doing. So this whole background is quite simply a very, very major chord sound. It's just a major chord, and it happens to be on an F. And then we're going to the major 3rd, major 3rd, 2, okay? And that's a nice background wash for us to do what I'm about to show you now. So there's the backing, and let's play our major scale now, starting from the F and ending on the F. No particular tempo. So I'm simply playing our major scale, but now we have this new interval, the raised 4, and you can hear it. That is the killer tone. That sharp 4 is what brings us into this world of wonder. Lovely. So we can you can just play the notes of the arpeggio, the major. Let's put the major 7th in there. Root, and we'll go back down to the flats. Sorry, the major 7th, just below the root. So let's do a full arpeggio shape here. So we'll go major 7th, root, major 3rd, 5th, major 7th, root, major third, fifth, sharp 4, yeah? Isn't that great? So I'm literally using arpeggio shapes, pulling out the chord tones from what we've just learned, like we've done every single week. We're using chord tones, major 7th, root, major 3rd, 5th, major 7th, root, 3rd, 5th. All of those are just chord tones of major 7th. But by simply knowing where this scale shape fits into our major scale, i.e. we're building it off the 4th tone of the key we're playing in, we know there's a sharp 4 just below that 5. It's got to be there. It's in our major scale. It's got to be there. And just by studying this, I know you'll see it. It'll jump out at you. You've got to get your head right. It's incredible because we're not changing any notes ever. Yet we're creating these wonderful, mysterious scale shapes and sounds, soundscapes, let's think of it as, palettes, artistic creations, all within this exact same framework every single time we do a lesson. But we're just starting from a different position, which naturally builds up the root, 3rd, 5th and 7th. We work out what those create. In this case it's creating a major 7th chord shape. And then we look at the new intervals, and in this one there's only one new interval, and it's a sharp 4. And as soon as I whack that sharp 4 in, I've got Lydian. Isn't that amazing? Let me just do this. If you close your eyes, it's just, I don't know if I'm going mad, but I just there's so many things. It kind of, it's because it's off, it wants to come to this. As soon as you've done that, you've created music. And then we can go up the next note. Isn't that beautiful? That's not. It's beautiful. Okay, so the next thing we need to look at here is, so far we've got the scale, which is the Lydian scale. We know it's a sharp 4. And we know that we can play up and down through that scale. We just simply focus on that sharp 4 as our kind of trigger note to make us get that elated feel from the major scale, that happy scale. Something else you need to really understand, which is really helpful, very, very, very useful, is that this concept of pentatonic scales. We've touched on it with the two minor scales, and I've explained to you that the root, minor 3rd, 4th, 5th, and minor 7th are your pentatonic notes. So we simply remove a couple of the notes from that scale. So if you find a root, a minor 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th, and a minor 7th, you've got a minor pentatonic scale. That is what it exists from. So as long as you know how to map out or find or spread away from a root. So it's as simple as I could go anywhere on this fretboard. So let me just start randomly there. I just picked that out at random. I don't even know what note it is, I don't care what note it is. I want to play a minor pentatonic. Well, I know I could either go here to here as a minor 3rd, 2 frets down, and you'll see this in the previous lessons we've been doing, or I could go up to here. Either way, I could go that way, or I could go this way. It doesn't matter which way I go, as long as it's a minor 3rd, and it is, it's a minor 3rd. Then we want a 4th. Okay, well I know that's a 4th. Because of all the lessons we've done before, we know that's a 4th. It's the Apache dude. I want a 5th. Okay, so there's a 5th. So we've now got 1, minor 3, 4, 5. And and then we're going to end on minor 7. I know that. And minor 7th, and we end on the root. So immediately, that is my pentatonic scale. I've just created it. It happens to be a D sharp minor pentatonic scale. It's that simple. When you know the rules, you can build scales wherever you want to build them. It's really exciting. So let's go back to what we're doing, and we know that from every major scale and every minor scale there is a pentatonic. There is always a pentatonic scale that can be generated from it. And this is an exciting thing, trust me. So what we're going to do here is major pentatonics, okay? And this is really, really important. This is something to remember, just something to kind of have a little grasp at now. Root 2, 3, 5, 6. 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 Keep that in your head, because that is your major pentatonic scale. That is it. That's your major pentatonic scale. Root 2, 3, 5, 6. It's always root 2, 3, 5, 6. It might seem crazy, especially if you've spent years and years and years and years and years and years, you know, because so many people, and as I was for years probably, confused and, where does minor pentatonics, when do you use major pentatonics? It's just intervals, they just have flavours. You know, 1, minor 3, 4, 5, minor 7 is a very different flavour to 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now then, now we know it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, let's have a look at the Lydian. Okay, so we're going to start from the F. Now this is crazy, because we don't want to find any new notes, remember. All the notes that we're going to play in this F Lydian are from the original key that we just played in. So we're going to now try and find that template that we just talked about, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, within our major scale that we're already playing in. And hopefully we're going to find exactly the same, we're going to find the same intervals, but from a new root. I hope this makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 will be here. Okay, and that will all be in your diagram. It'll be a lot easier for you because you can see it in the diagram. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And again, it's good to hear this sound and vocalize it. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And it's in the diagram. So the pentatonic that it's lifting out from the major chord, we've already looked at the arpeggio, the 1, 3, 5, and 7. We're now looking at the major pentatonic, the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So there's little rules to learn. Pentatonic, major pentatonic, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now this is amazing. Now the reason why this is crazy, and this is where your head really starts to spin, is that the 4 chord shares the same pentatonic shape that you've already seen when we did the 2 minor. The difference being is the 2 minor started from the 2 here, the D, and now we're starting from the F, the 4. So you can start to learn relationships between chords, scales, and relative chords and scales within the major scale that work together. So for example, if I start this scale pattern that's in the diagram, if I start that from a D, or the interval of a 2, I will get one shape and one sound. If I play this over a D minor, I would get one kind of sound. But if I play it starting from the 4 chord, so the intervals kind of are all now splaying out from the 4 chord, and everything is now relating to that 4 chord, you get a completely different sound, a completely different feel. So let's just show you how this works. So for example, I can now play, this is the same chords, and I'm going to play a major pentatonic over this 4 chord. How cool does this sound? Okay, that is all using major pentatonic. So, once you've got your major pentatonic, let's just throw in a sharp 4. That's it. You play major pentatonic. So there's our happy. See, it sounds happy, doesn't it? Sounds happy because we've got a lot of the majorness in there. We've got the major third, we've got a 9, a 2, a 5th. So the major third and the 5th make it sound happy. So it's happy. We're happy with that. Let's make it more elate, or let's create some wonder in that happiness. So imagine someone is sort of happy sunny day, sun shining, but then we see a little gremlin and he's looking at us, but he's smiling. He's smiling. He's not a nasty gremlin, he's a really smiley little man. Little man. Who's that? You know what I mean? I don't know whether that's made any sense. Talking about little green gremlins. Now we're really happy. We're kind of like in this wondrous. He's showing me his people. You get the idea? So we take happiness into wonder. That's the way I look at it, right? So very, very different to the very dark, gloomy, the dark minor Phrygian chord. Look, I think we're learning some wonderful things here, right? We've got the 4 chord, and I think I showed you how the bass line moves in the 4 chord. Root 3 and 5, major chord. We then looked at the majors. We looked at how to play the Lydian scale with, just simply playing C major, or the major scale, but starting from the 4th note. We realised when we played that pattern, it raises the 4. We get a new tonality, a sharp 4. That sharp 4 turns happiness into kind of like this kind of wondrous sound over here. We then looked at the major 7th arpeggio. You've got that to practice, and you've learnt about the major pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Okay, so that 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Get that into your head. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So I hope, hopefully, that's given you a few tips and ideas, and given you a bit of a trip into the world of Lydian, just from a starting point. And I'm sure there's a lot in there to take on board, and I'm hoping it's been useful, as I'm hoping the other videos have been useful. And I really do feel like you're going to learn a lot of tools and get a lot of understanding, which will go far beyond what we're just doing now. It will help you in every aspect of your music, whether you're learning to play rock, blues, do a bit of songwriting. I really do hope it'll be with you forever, which is my intent and which is my hope. So yeah, okay, so thanks for listening, and fingers crossed you enjoyed that one. Okay, all right, cheers, see you soon, bye.